perspective presented by the New Orleans Secular Humanist Association, following our few principles of humanism.
We're committed to the use of science and reason for understanding the universe and for solving human problems. We're skeptical of untested claims of knowledge, but we're open to new ideas.
We are concerned with securing justice and fairness in society and in ending intolerance and discrimination. We are committed to the total separation of religion and government.
We affirm humanism as a realistic alternative to the theologies of despair and the ideologies of violence. We reject the concept of an afterlife and believe in living a full and rewarding life here and now.
We value and respect each individual's right to judge and lead their lives according to their own position, as long as it's respectful of other people, living in a free society.
We hope you enjoy today's program and others in the weeks to follow. Thanks for being with us today. We have a special program today on a serious topic with perhaps a not-so-serious solution. But our guest today is a member of our organization, NOSHA, which is the acronym for New Orleans Secular Humanist Association. And our guest today is Robert Bober. And Robert says he is a Pastafarian, and we're going to find out before this program is over what that means. But the topic that we really are concerned with today is the separation of church and state. And as you've probably heard from us many times, the First Amendment to the Constitution, as interpreted by the Supreme Court, says that in no way should government be involved with religion, nor should religion be involved with government, and government cannot favor one religion over another or religion in general. So we're going to be talking about separation of church and state. And while we're on that topic, Robert, I have a list that came to me from someone about it. It says, what do you know about the separation of church and state? And there are a dozen questions here, but a couple of them I think our audience would be interested in the answer. The first one says, how many times does the word God appear in the U.S. Constitution? You know the answer to that one?
That would be 0.
You're correct. All right, and another one says, here's a quotation. The government of the United States is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion. Where does this phrase appear? You know where that is?
It sounds like something Thomas Jefferson would say.
You're close.
Okay.
It was in a treaty signed by President Adams.
Okay.
It was a treaty that the United States entered into with Tripoli, which was not a Christian country. And this is what it says. As the government of the United States is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion, as it has in itself no character of enmity against the laws, religion, or tranquility of Muslim men, it is declared that no pretext arising from religious opinion shall ever produce an interpretation of the harmony existing between the two countries. That was a long way of saying, you know, you're Muslim and we're Christian, and but our governments don't get involved in that. Then it says here, all American presidents have been practicing Christians. Is that true or false?
I guess the functional term is practicing. I would say false.
They say false. John Adams, John Q. Adams, Millard Fillmore, and William H. Taft were Unitarians. Now, I don't know why they say Unitarians aren't Christians, but my experience with the Unitarians is that they are closer to us non-believers than anything else. It says Jefferson was a deist, freethinker. Harrison, Johnson, Grant, and Hayes were not members of a church, and Lincoln was a deist. All right, well, let me see if there's another question or two we might be interested what does the First Amendment say about religion, which I have just mentioned to the audience? And the answer is, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting free exercise. Now, that's a little vague. It had to go to the Supreme Court more than once, but the authority from the Supreme Court said no connection whatsoever. All right, let's see. We'll do maybe one more, and then we'll go on from there. The phrase wall of separation between church and state originated with?
Thomas Jefferson.
You got it.
Yes.
A letter written by President Thomas Jefferson. He coined this phrase in a carefully crafted letter to the Danbury Baptists of Connecticut in 1802. It has since been widely picked up and invoked in major Supreme Court decisions. All right, so I think we've gotten the message across that our governments, and that means federal government, state government, city, parish, and their entities like public schools and such, must separate themselves from religion. Now, we know in the state of Louisiana that's being violated right and left, and all you got to do is go to Tangipahoa Parish to see plenty of that. Now, there is a prohibition in the Louisiana state law, which is the one that you and I are going to talk about. Tell us what that one is.
Well, we discovered this when I was trying to get married to my wife, and we wanted to have a secular wedding and preferably have my father perform the ceremony. Well, when I found out all the rules and regulations, it came down to he could not perform the ceremony unless he was an ordained minister, a federal judge,
yes,
or a justice of the peace.
That's written into the state law.
Yes, that was my understanding of it. So
right.
that's what the office told me.
So even though they allowed a pastor of a recognized church to sign a certificate of marriage, that's what's necessary.
Right.
The legal form, the marriage certificate. A minister could do that, but a non-religious person was prohibited from doing so.
That's correct.
Now, that's unconstitutional, but it's still on the books.
Right.
Well, so, all right, so that's what you were hoping that your father could do it.
Right. And I was ecstatic because he's actually a federal judge. And I said, okay, this is great. How do we get him permission to sign the certificate? Oh, well, by the way, where's his office? Oh, well, it's in D.C. He can't actually do that. So if he wants to do it, he needs to become an ordained minister. So that's actually how we bypassed it. He became, I believe, a minister of Dudism, I think is the church that he joined. It was a $5 certificate, and then we got all the paperwork in, and he performed the ceremony.
And so the state of Louisiana, whatever department handles that, approved him and gave him the authority to sign a marriage certificate.
That's correct.
Which is getting around the law, but not correcting it.
That's correct.
All right. So you did get legally married, is what you're telling me.
I did get legally married.
All right. Well, carry on from there.
Okay. And that then prompted me to look into it a little bit more, and I decided to go out and become my own ordained minister. But I had to find a religion that I loved and truly just embraced, and that was...
And that would also accept you.
And that would accept me,
yes,
for all of my funny quirks.
All right.
And that is the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Say that again.
The Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.
Now, some of us have heard about that. Okay. I suspect most of the people watching this show will say, what is that?
Probably.
Okay,
so,
what is it?
Well, the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster was actually started overnight by a person named Bobby Henderson, who wrote a letter to the Kansas City School Board at the time when they were debating whether or not intelligent design should be taught in the schoolroom. And, you know, we as actually free thinkers and people who like evidence know that evolution is an actual scientific theory. he wrote his own letter suggesting that his religion, where the flying spaghetti monster created everything and was the cause of everything that's ever happened, is the real religion, and demanded time in the school board, time in the classroom as well.
In other words, he was equating the flying spaghetti monster with the creator, God, or whatever the other people want to call it, and he said, this is the real one. I guess that's what he said.
That's basically what it was.
Right.
It's the typical teapot or the unicorn. You can't disprove that it doesn't exist.
Okay.
So that letter went out, and it literally spread like wildfire, and the movement of Pastafarianism began. Just in the news a couple weeks ago, in Austria, a man won the right to wear his headgear on his driver's license.
What headgear is that?
Pasta strainer.
I see. So when you say, and you identify yourself as a Pastafarian, that's what the people who accept this religion, that's what they're called, Pastafarians.
That's correct.
And that pasta is the spaghetti part of it.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm trying to clear this up for myself. Go ahead.
Yes. So the flying spaghetti monster, and this is written in the Flying Spaghetti Monster Gospel. It is our Bible. The flying spaghetti monster created everything, created Earth. He touches you with his noodly appendages. Okay. He can do things. He can create things out of nothing. And there is a heaven and a hell. Heaven, there will be beer volcanoes and strippers. And hell, there will be beer volcanoes, but the beer is warm, and the strippers all have sexually transmitted diseases.
I see. Well, this sounds like a very serious religion.
Yes, I mean, but it does the job. It answers all of the questions.
I see. And this creation happened all at once, or did it evolve over a period of time?
No, it happened all at once, and there are pictures.
So those of us who believe in the scientific theory of evolution would question this religion, I would guess.
They would have problems with the merits of the religion, yes.
Equally with the other religions which proclaim instant creation of everything all at once 6,000 years ago. So we could question both of them equally. Was that right?
That's correct. All of the creation myths,
yes.
Whether it be flying spaghetti monster, Pastafarianism, or intelligent design, or creationism, whatever you want to call it, they all have a lot of problems when you actually use the scientific method on them.
I see. Now, since you have become, what do you call it, a pastor, a minister? What are you?
I'm an ordained minister.
An ordained minister. Right. How many of them are around? Is this worldwide or just here?
No, it's a worldwide. You can go online.
How many ordained ministers do you think they have?
I don't know. I know that I think my certificate said number 50, but I got it, I'd say literally, I ordered it the day that they posted that you can become a minister.
I see.
So I don't know how many they have now.
I see, but you suspect there are many, many of them.
I suspect there are many more, and growing.
Do these ministers have followings?
This particular one doesn't, but I suppose that as we grow and our church becomes more well-known, there will be more followers.
I see. Well, if you wanted to hold services, where would you have it? In a bar room or what?
Oh, we would have to have it at a table with spaghetti and meatballs.
Oh, all right. Okay, an Italian restaurant would
Probably,
do.
yes.
I see. And what would Pastafarian services comprise of? Comprised of?
Basically eating spaghetti and talking. There are a couple prayers about his noodly appendage, but for the most part, we consider ourselves rather reform and really don't stick to a dogmatic approach to any type of, structured prayer service.
I'm going to assume that you are sincerely serious. However, this whole concept can be taken as a form of humor.
Yes.
Where do you stand on the continuum from serious to humor?
That's the part. That's the fun part with this, is that if I say it with a straight face, the government has to respect that, and in doing so, it has to give me a marriage the permission to perform marriages.
Yes.
That's the absurdity of it. But the fact of the matter is, it's a completely crazy concept of what I'm actually proposing.
Of course.
So it's okay to be crazy, and we can legally allow you to marry people with that.
Well, there are lots of crazies
Right.
marrying people.
Yes.
Now, but with that, with that authority, are you offering yourself up to conduct secular marriages?
Oh, absolutely. I will conduct any secular marriage. I'll do it free of charge. The only thing I would ask is a donation to a scientific organization, preferably the Richard Dawkins organization. But any type of secular donation would be acceptable.
Well, NOSHA accepts donations, you understand.
No, you
All right.
donate to NOSHA.
All right,
but I'll do it for free. And if you even wanted to, I'd even wear my pirate outfit, which is the official garb of the Flying Spaghetti Monster Church.
Oh, I didn't know that. A pirate outfit, but with a strainer on your head or not?
You can use a strainer, or you can just have a regular pirate hat.
I see. And you're prepared to do that?
I have my my
Now,
pirate garb.
In addition to weddings, would you officiate at, I guess in religion people would call it blessing of the child or christening of a child. You're also prepared to do that?
I've decided I would, absolutely. I can do baptisms. We'll use a little bit of spaghetti sauce.
I see.
We can drop some noodles on the baby, but I would be down for doing any type of religious service.
You would also officiate at a funeral?
I would do that if somebody would like.
I see. So you're available for that kind of activity.
Absolutely.
Have you been called on yet?
Not yet. I really haven't made
Now,
my
how do
service.
people know you're there and available?
Word of mouth. I just sent out an email on NOSHA saying that I've done this. If anybody is in need, every now and then we will get people contacting us saying, "Does anybody know of a secular minister, so to speak, to officiate at our wedding?" And I just decided to do it.
Well, I do get those requests from time to time, and I haven't been in a position to suggest that you might meet their needs, because I don't know how they might react. But we have a couple of people in the city who, one of them being a Unitarian minister, who will do a secular ceremony for anybody who requests it. Well, okay. Tell me then about where, how are you going to publicize your availability?
I'm probably not going to publicize it or have a website or anything like that. It'll just be, I guess, word of mouth.
Okay.
And through NOSHA.
All right, because I suspect that there are people who would be happy to know that you're available.
I suspect that's the case.
The problem that NOSHA has had from day one is letting people know that we're here.
Right.
How do you do that? You could spend a lot of money advertising, but we're not a big money organization. And fortunately, we have built the size of our organization over the years very well, but there's still, when I talk to people in the community and mention New Orleans secular humanists, they've never heard of us. It's really difficult to get the word out unless you've got big advertising budgets. So, if we can help you, we certainly agree with your concept that you should not have to be a minister of a church to sign a wedding certificate in the state of Louisiana, which is not the case in most states. In most states, I don't know who can perform weddings, but I don't think it's limited as it is here. You have any knowledge about what the case may be in other states?
I just know of Maryland, it was the same thing as down here, because that's where I'm originally from, and we had the same issues with some friends of ours.
Okay.
So the solution was also the same.
All right. Now, I had an email from you after I asked you about whether you'd like to appear on the show, and you said there are some things you'd like to bring up. One of them says the Flying Spaghetti Monster raises the point of why we allow religions and religious persons certain platitudes not granted to other groups or people. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, just with the marriage license. I mean, well, you can't perform a wedding ceremony. Oh, you were an ordained minister? Sure you can.
Okay, but now as a platitude, what does that refer to?
I mean, that just means we grant them certain, not so much rights, but we grant them certain privileges not granted to other people because they have this cloth of clergy
Yes.
That surrounds them.
And you have your cloth that looks like a pirate outfit.
That's correct.
I see.
Don't forget about the pasta.
And the pasta. All right. And then it says, in your email to me, it says, the flying spaghetti monster situation clearly demonstrates how religion is entwined within our legal system. In this case, the harm is minimal. It's harm, but it's minimal. However, all one needs to do is look around and see a huge portion of our legislative bodies not accepting the basic tenets of evolution because the concept contradicts their particular religion. Now, when you say look around, we don't have to look beyond the governor of the state of Louisiana,
right,
who is a college-educated person in biology, right, who is willing to go along with the creationists, I guess, because that's who votes. That's where the votes come from.
Right.
Now, in addition to that, our legislature, on more than one occasion, has voted unanimously or almost unanimously for things like allowing the teaching of creationism or whatever, intelligent design, in the public schools. And when those issues have come up, they all vote for it. Now,
and they all get struck down.
Yes, in court. In the court. What can we do about that?
If I knew the answer, I'd probably be running for office. I honestly, I don't know. I mean, education is actually key. But if you can't actually educate correctly, we just become a dumber and dumber society. I don't think for one instance that our governor believes in intelligent design or creationism with his background of having a biology degree. I just think he's pandering for the votes.
As are the other elected people, but is this I don't think this is the case in all of the 50 states. How did we in Louisiana get into such a deep mess?
I actually have no idea, but it raises the point where a lot of people will hear the term, oh, well, evolution is a theory. One of the problems is that the term theory has a colloquial meaning, which is, oh, it's a guess.
Yeah.
Where when you actually have a scientific theory, that is the greatest accomplishment that you could actually have from a scientific perspective. There's atomic theory, there's quantum theory, there's the theory of electromagnetism, there's evolutionary theory. These are facts.
They are subject to being disproved, but and if something came along that disproved one of those, it would be changed. Right?
Exactly.
But they have, those things that you mentioned have withstood all the challenges and all the tests.
And all of the scrutiny.
And so what we can really say is that so far, these theories appear to be valid, right?
Correct. And you'll never see a governor or a president or any elected official ever challenging Einstein's theory of relativity or quantum theory.
Yes.
You don't look at it in the same perspective. So I think that, when people come out and say, well, it's a theory, say, so is gravity, okay? But we know this one is actually correct. There may be tweaks or very, very subtle modifications that need to be made, but the overriding theory of evolution is that things evolved, we are evolving.
Yes.
And just look around, all of medicine is based on this. If you deny the theory of evolution, I mean, you're denying, but you might as well just not even take antibiotics. Don't have CAT scans, okay? All of the tenets that how these devices are made, the decisions for how we prescribe antibiotics, really are founded on the crux of the theory of evolution.
I think that the populace will accept science in every respect except when it questions their religious belief.
Right.
The fact that that they get inoculations to keep from catching a disease, they accept that as it works.
Right.
It works, and that doesn't deny their religious beliefs.
Right. Now, also, the other thing that may help to point out is even the Catholic Church accepts evolution as fact and as science.
Officially, the Church, but that doesn't mean all the Catholics do.
That's correct. But even again, if even the Catholic Church, who's notorious for they didn't accept the fact that the Earth went around the sun for 300 years.
Yes.
Even they have actually looked at the data and said evolution is actually real.
Well, the Vatican's a little slow with catching up with reality, but again, even though their parishioners know that that's the official position, an enormous number of those people would not accept it because they consider the words of the Bible to be true and valid, whatever it says. And if it says that God created the earth in 7 days, that's fact. Robert, we've got a couple of minutes left of this show. The time goes fast. Say whatever you'd like to about Pastafarian or Pastafarian or church states, whatever you'd like to let the people know.
Well, the only thing I would want to mention is that becoming and joining the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, it's a great experience. They have a very great website out there. It will, for the people who are really, there we go, Pastafarianism. There's the Flying Spaghetti Monster with his noodly appendage and meatballs.
I see.
You'll find most of the members are secular atheists, and you'll see just some great literature on there and some great arguments.
And when you say if you join, you could join without becoming an ordained
That's correct.
minister?
I mean, all you have to do is say, I'm a Pastafarian, and you've joined.
How do you do that?
You just
say it.
You just say it. If you say, I'm a Pastafarian.
I have to continue to conduct this show.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure that I should make that commitment.
If all you have to
Let
do
me
is-
say this, I respect your position.
Right. So all you have to do is say you're a Pastafarian and you're a Pastafarian.
I see. Well, you may want to provide that opportunity at one of our meetings and see, maybe a lot of people will say, count me, I'm one.
Right. From the emails, a lot of the emails were addressed Ramen, which is how we, do our blessings, how we end our blessings, and Jim over here knows about the noodly appendages. I suspect he may be a closet Pastafarian.
Well, you're talking about another member of NOSHA. Well, we may find out about that. And I want to thank you for being here, Robert. I want to thank you folks for watching our show. Hope we didn't disturb too many of you. Be with us again next week.